Minnesota Duluth is here in the house, defending national champions, and we will ask Coach Sandelin for some opening thoughts.
Thanks, Frisch. Again, pretty exciting time for our program to be back in the Frozen Four. Certainly happy for our players. Certainly wasn't easy to get here. It never is. And to have an opportunity to play right now in tomorrow's game and this time of the year is certainly special for our program. And three guys next to me have done a great job with leadership on our group this year. And as a coach, we've been blessed with great leaders and guys that have shown the way and led by example. And these three guys here, led by our captain Parker, have done a great job. And we're excited to play tomorrow against a very good team, and we'll see what happens.
Again, we have the microphones with Emily and Sean, so please raise your hand and then identify yourself and affiliation each time, and we'll take your questions first for the players. Right here, Jess.
Jess Myers with the Rink Live. Parker, what has it been like to play with Riley Tufte for the time you've spent on the line with him this year, and what does his size and just kind of his abilities bring to your team?
Yeah, Tufts has been good. He's especially coming into his own, I think, later in the season. He's starting to use that big body to his advantage. He's been using his speed and taking pucks to the net. He's been playing well defensively for us, especially late, so it's been good to see, and we're going to need him here moving forward.
All right, in the back, Bruce.
Bruce Siski, Midwest Communications. I guess for any of the three of you guys, adversity stinks when you're going through it, but how much has the adversity you faced this season helped you get to this point?
Nick.
Obviously, every year you go through some ups and downs, but this year you kind of made us stick together a little bit more. Give us confidence that we can go through those tough times, but also learn a lot from it. And obviously that's helped us through the tough stretches and through the playoff stretch. So, it got us to where we are now.
Billy.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our schedule, I think we got a pretty tough schedule in every game. We're playing against a good team. So, when we're going through stretches where maybe things aren't going our way, finding, battling back against these good teams. So we know no matter who we're playing against, even with the last four teams, we know what we can do and what we can bring.
Parker, you got anything more?
No, that's good. I honestly forgot the question.
All right here in front.
Chris Lurch, USCHO.com. This is for Nick. Nick, you were a leader of a very young defensive core last year. You guys all have a year under your belt. What differences, if any, from this season to last season?
I guess we just have a lot of confidence in each other. We know our roles and how we all play them. I wouldn't even consider myself a leader. All of them. We're all just as experienced, and we can all play each other's roles. So I think we all build off each other, and that gains a lot of trust between each other. So that's kind of how we play, and it shows on the ice.
Chris, way to go. That was our 26th question, first one from Ushko. So Ushko's on the board. Way to go. John?
This is for Parker. John Worrell with the Associated Press. How, I see you've got 14 guys with Frozen Four experience. How much do you think you guys who've been here before and have won can draw upon that experience at this level and know what to expect?
Yeah, I think we definitely know what to expect. Obviously, the other three teams here are very experienced as well. They're all very good hockey teams. We respect them a lot. We know how hard it's going to be. We just got to focus on Thursday night. I think we can't look by that at any point here. We're just focused on tomorrow afternoon, I guess, late afternoon, and we're excited for it. But yeah, I think experience draws a huge factor into that.
All right, Austin, right here.
Nick, how important is
name and affiliation, please?
Austin Rush, UMD Athletics. Nick, how important is it that you guys are coming into this tournament with so much experience over some of the other teams?
It helps a lot. Obviously, we've been here the last couple of years, so we know what to expect. But at the same time, we're, like Parker said, there are three other good teams. That's why we're all here. So it does help, but at the same time, we're just taking each game one at a time and going from there.
Further questions for the players? You guys are easy? Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Yeah, well, it's quick. Chris Peters, I figured he'd lob in with a question there, but of course, Coach Sandelin, you want to have a question for. You should have to have a question for the players before you get a question for the coach, though, don't you think? No? All right, Chris.
Chris Peters, ESPN. Scott, we talked about the D-core. It seems like there's a lot of balance, and I was just wondering how your players kind of developed into those roles that they play, where it's top 4 PK. I mean, how long did it take to, now that this is for a lot of these guys only their second year, and how have those roles evolved from last year to this year?
I think last year, obviously, there was some experimentation. We know Scotty's obviously a real good offensive player. He's going to run a power play. I think Mikey and Dylan kind of developed into a real good pair that we could put out on the power play, kill penalties. It just kind of evolved into that. We tried some different things. I remember telling Wolfie, if you want to play with Scotty, then you need to play a certain way. And, for him, I said, just give him the puck. You might end up with 20, 25 assists, so that your job's easy. But no, they've really developed, a trust, and I think they said that too within each other. I mean, obviously, they played a lot of games. We knew last year too we were going to play those guys, so we didn't have much of a choice. We tried some different things, but we kind of knew going in what roles each guy may take on. But those guys have really developed in those situations, and there's just, from a coaching staff to that group, there's just a lot of trust based on what we've seen over not just last year, but even this year too. And I think they've grown as a group collectively, and that's certainly been a backbone of our team going into this year, and I thought it was a big part of our group last year too. So it's kind of just been a good transition into this year.
John here in front, and then Jess.
Scott, John Worrell with the AP. You've been, this is your 5th and straight NCAA tournament. You've been good enough to win 2 titles, but winning back-to-back, it's not been done since Denver in 04-05. What do you see as the college hockey games evolved that has made it so difficult for teams to win back-to-back titles?
The parity has certainly become very evident, I think. The thing right now is there's not a staff out there that doesn't work hard. Whether it's recruiting, we've got a lot of tremendous coaches throughout college hockey. Like I said, real hardworking assistant coaches. Recruiting is obviously, evened out a little bit too. And you obviously see some of the other teams that some teams are going to lose more players early. Everybody builds their team differently. And I think some teams are older, some are younger, some have a good mix. But I just think there's so many hardworking staffs. Nobody's lazy anymore. You can't be in this game. And I just think we got a lot of good coaches. And like I said, you recruit to your needs, you recruit to the style you want to play, and everybody has their niche. And I think a lot of guys are just sticking with that. And you know what? You're seeing a lot more teams continue to develop and get better. And even the teams that aren't here that are, everyone talks about, they'll be back. They're good programs. They always have been. So you're going to have cycles. And but I just think there's so much parity and so many good coaches that it's really put college hockey in a really good spot.
Okay.
Jess Myers with the UMD Statesman. Scott, I asked about Tufte earlier. His offensive numbers haven't been eye-popping, but the thing that obviously stands out about him is his size. How have you been able to utilize what he brings to the game? And as a side note, it's his 21st birthday today. Are you going to allow him to have a beer at some point?
If we win on Saturday, I will. Yeah, you know what? I mean, certainly, number one, he's a tremendous kid. You know what? He's matured a lot since he's been in our program. There's been ups and downs like every player. I think, for him, it's like a lot of players. It's that confidence, and I think trying to instill in him, preparing the right way during the week, for every game, trying to get him under. I think the biggest thing that he's learned is, I think, trying to develop consistency to his game and how he needs to play, and just realizing what kind of player he is. I think sometimes you get a lot of players, I don't care if they're forwards or D, some think they're super high-end offensive defensemen when really they get here, they're kind of middle of the road. And it takes time for sometimes guys to understand that. And I think the quicker guys do and just stick to, kind of what they are, instead of trying to be what everybody else thinks they should be. And I think he's learned that. And I think he's played, I don't always look at numbers. I look at the body of work, and certainly there's been some really, really good moments for him. And then there's been some learning curves, just like everybody else. And he's still learning. But he's really played well here for us the last month and a half. And I remember having a discussion with him, about a month ago. I said, I don't care what you've done up until now, because we need you coming down the stretch here. And he stepped up his game. And you know what? When players do that, that's the exciting part for a coach, because they get it. And hopefully he can continue to do that here tomorrow, and hopefully if we're playing Saturday.
Okay, right over here.
Dan Rubin from U.S. College Hockey Online. Coach, I don't know how much you've seen of Providence College per se, but this is more two parts. One, what has jumped off the table to you, and in particular during the regional with their power play and how it was executed against Minnesota State. What has jumped off the film to you in the last couple of weeks?
Fast starting team, very aggressive. I think, I go back to the game we had with them a few years ago. I thought it was an unbelievable hockey game. I think it was in Worcester when it was double overtime, but I thought it was great pace, just hard ice all over. We were fortunate to win that game. Obviously, you mentioned the power play was outstanding against Mankato and Cornell. So it tells me to stay out of the box. Because they're probably riding a lot of confidence. But team that defends hard, gets pucks to the net. To me, these games are going to be won at both nets. I know coaches probably say that, but they get hard to the net. And we've got to find a way to get to theirs, because both teams have to solve pretty good goalies too. So I just think it's going to be another close, hard-fought, not a lot of room, physical, maybe a bounce here or there. But I'm expecting a very, very hard, heavy game.
Broke the streak, by the way. 1 goal wins. Finally got a 2-goal win, huh?
Didn't make me breathe any easier, I can tell you that.
Bruce?
Bruce Siskey, Midwest Communications. I'll ask you the same thing I asked the players. The adversity that you've gone through this year, that 5-5 stretch late in the regular season, how do you feel that made your team stronger?
Well, I think you got to go through some of that all year. There's going to be different stretches. I think, for our team, there was a lot of lessons along the way. Whether it was that stretch, there was a lot of Fridays where we turned Saturday into not a good game. There was games where we lost Friday and came back and responded. The one thing this group has done is they've responded. I think when their backs have been against the wall, they've usually responded in the right way. And we took, like the last weekend of the year against St. Cloud, and even though we lost 2 games, we turned that into more of a positive, that we felt we became a better hockey team. And right now that's the last lesson that our guys have learned, and they've responded pretty well up until this point. So I think it makes you a better team. You're going to go through that. Everyone wants, I think sometimes everybody wants it to be real easy, and this has not been an easy year to get back here. And I give our guys a lot of credit, because there's been a lot of challenges, and certainly that is part of it with some of the adversities you're talking about. But I think it made our team better for sure, and I think we've learned along the way.
Okay, right here in front. We got a name and affiliation, please. Yep.
Heather Engel with NHL.com. I was wondering, Justin Richards, obviously his father, has been coaching for a while. Are you able to tell, do you notice anything in his game that shows that he has that connection, that he's a son of a coach, and how can you tell?
Just the way he goes about every day. I think he trains the right way. He studies the game. He has a purpose every day when he comes to the rink. He's a very focused young man. He wants to get better. Absolutely, you can tell he's been around the game, and his dad's been in the game and coached. and he doesn't need to be told twice a lot. But just he's had a really, really good year for us. But there's no question, you can tell he's got those bloodlines.
In the back.
Jerry Burrow, Minnesota Hockey Connection. Scott, this is your third year back to the Frozen Four, and it's one of the hardest places to get to. In the last 3 years, you've had a lot of overtime games to get here, 1-goal games. So you have your team playing hard in every shift. Does that, by playing hard every shift, make it a lot easier for you, or is there a lot of luck involved, you think?
Well, I think there's always luck involved. I mean, you get into one game shots, and you know what? There's a lot of good teams that don't win those games because of a bounce or a break or whatever. But you know what? We've been very fortunate to play in a lot of those games. And when you have success in some of those games, obviously it gives your group a little bit of confidence. But we're accustomed to playing in low-scoring, tight games. I mean, that's been our team probably for 2 years. We don't have maybe a super high-powered offense. Can we score goals? Yes, but we're just kind of accustomed to that. And maybe it's a mentality that we've developed by being in a lot of those games, whether it's NCAA tournament or regular season. And our guys have just kind of settled into that. And I think when you play different games or different teams, sometimes you do have to make some adjustments, but you know what? We ask our guys to play a certain way, and for the most part, our guys have been pretty successful at going out and doing that, and hopefully that continues.
All right, go ahead, right here in front again. Heather.
It's actually just about Carson.
Could you identify yourself again?
Yeah, sorry. Heather Engel, NHL.com. Carson Coleman found some success with the Bruins here. What did you see as his biggest strength in college and as a captain? And what did he mean to the team?
He meant a lot. I mean, he was one of the best captains I've ever had. His leadership, his disciplines, his work habits, all those things that he brought to the rink every day. I thought his relationships and how he handled our team. But he was a lead by example guy, and what he meant to us is we won a national championship because of him last year, because he scored a big goal in the semifinal game in the regional, put the team on his back just by what he does on the rink, and you see it the way he plays now. He doesn't take shifts off, and carried our team with the leadership and example on the ice. And I think obviously Parker was an assistant captain there, has learned some things too, just like you do from all good leaders. But he was a special captain for us, and couldn't be more excited to see him getting the opportunities he's getting and doing well. And hopefully he can continue to stay there and help that team.
Just, sorry, as a follow-up. Beyond that, what do you think could allow him to succeed in the playoffs with so little experience in the NHL playoffs?
Kind of like our young guys last year. They're kind of naive. They're just going and playing hockey, But I think they have a good room there, right? So, again, it's like those guys are, when a player feels comfortable right away, there's enough pressure on those guys. But, he just goes out and does what he does on a daily basis. He's going to work hard every shift. Like as a coach, you the consistency that he's going to bring. And, he's getting some offensive points and different things, and when those things start happening, they get confidence. But I think, and even talking to him, I think the guys in the room have made him feel comfortable and taken some of that pressure away, and just allowed him to go play his game. And as a coach, they're going to maybe make some mistakes, so give the coaching staff credit too for allowing him to go out there and kind of get his feet wet and continue to move forward. But he's going to give you the same thing every day. So as a coach, that's what we look for, and that's what develops the trust in not only your coaches but your teammates.
All right, Coach. Before we let you go, I mean, do you want it? We got this fancy new backdrop with your logo on it. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Do you want to take a quick selfie and tweet it out before you go, or?
No, I don't tweet, so I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Just thought we'd offer. All right, thanks very much. Best of luck.
Thanks.